When I was a first year medical student, I would always struggle to understand what's the most important thing when it comes to my exams. I would often feel lost, ask everyone, ask the high EU students, and I would always hear a different answer from everyone. Well, now I am a doctor and I know exactly what I should have done and what advice I would give to my younger self. So strap in, because in this video I'm gonna share 5 study tips that I wish I knew when I was a first year medical student. By the end of this video, you will not only know how to survive the first year of med school, which is arguably the hardest, but also how to thrive. My first tip is actually that you have to use your weekends. And what do I mean by this? I mean that you should not waste your time. I remember that during the first year, it's very normal that you want to socialize and meet new people and go out during the weekends. So me personally, I would go out and party. And this is, of course, you should do that, and I advise you to do that, but to not do it with wasting your whole weekend. I was actually partying, and during the day I wasn't studying. I was just doing random stuff that were not important at all. I believe that you can, looking back, reminiscing about the past, you can set to yourself a goal for the weekend. For example, Saturday I'm going to study 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours after my lunchtime, and Sunday I can do the same, and that equates to 8 hours in total for the weekend. So that's much better than wasting your whole weekend. So don't underestimate the value of the weekends, because exams are rolling around very fast every semester. The best thing you can do is actually use your weekends, and during the week you have a lot of classes and clinics, and also if you're attending the lectures as well, which for me in my university they were not obligatory, it was optional. You really need to use your weekends efficiently. My tip number 2, if there's one thing to remember from this video, it's actually this advice, which is that your environment is the number 1 predictor of your success. I remember from myself that I would always waste my time when I would be staying at home, because I would be alone and nobody was there to watch me study or to motivate me or anything like that. And of course you should be able to be self-disciplined and do it by yourself, but it's much easier when the environment that you are in is conducive to what you want to do. So for example, what I later on did it during my first semester of med school, I went to the library, and there in the library everyone is studying, right? And also there are other friends of mine or colleagues from university as well. It was mainly medical students or law students. So I couldn't procrastinate in that case. I couldn't just waste time at home because everybody else in the library is studying. So therefore I would feel bad of not doing it. And now that I think of it, I understand now why when I was doing a break when I was in the library, I was actually going outside of the library. I didn't want to make a break inside the library because I saw everybody studying, so I felt bad. So actually in that case, you can use that feeling of shame to be productive. So you can use it for a positive purpose. So in this case, the environment, which is the library, made me a productive person and somebody that doesn't procrastinate. So also there's an identity shift that happened due to the environment, which is also interesting to note. And that's why I believe that environment is the most important indicator for your success. My tip number 3 is to use active recall. Of course, it's easier to just read your notes, read the books, read the presentations, but there is no real knowledge that is going to be retained by your brain. Or even if you have unless you have photographic memory. In that case, I am jealous because I didn't have. So if you don't have a photographic memory, you need to actively test yourself when you're studying for an exam or any subject, or in general, even if you want to study for the next lesson for your class, you have to actively test yourself and you have to ask yourself questions on the material that you're studying. And that is very important because it's much easier when you're repeating everything at the end of the semester for your exams to have tested yourself throughout the semester. And actually, in that case, it would be spaced repetition, which is when you are spacing the intervals of your active recalls. That would be like the best way to make sure that you'll remember the most amount of information by the time your exam comes. My tip number 4 is to actually join a study group. It's way more fun when you're studying with friends and you're not on your own. And as James Clear says in his book Atomic Habits, one of the key indicators of making a habit stick is that you need to make the activity or the habit of studying, in this case, more enjoyable and fun. And having a study group that you know, okay, every day I'm gonna meet with 2 of my colleagues in the library at 9 a.m. and we will study from 9 to 1, and this will be every day, then it will be much easier for you to stick to this habit of studying. And I would say for me I had this problem because I was not consistent. I wasn't consistently studying during my semester, and I would always struggle at the end of the exam period in order to make up for it. And trust me, you can't make up for it. Or actually, you can make up for it, but it's much more painful when you leave it for the last second. And my last tip is to find yourself a hobby. I really struggled with studying for a long period of time in med school that you have to do. And in the first year, as a young person, that I was not really used to studying A, the material, which was very difficult, and B, the type of intensity during my studying sessions that I had to do. And therefore, I actually found another way to achieve my studying by finding a hobby. And the hobby for me was gym. Specifically, I was doing bodybuilding, and it was from a lack of belief in myself. I was 19 at the time, and I am still, hopefully, tall, but I was very skinny, and I really needed to put on some size and muscle, or at least that's what I thought at the time. And I started going to the gym, and I eventually succeeded at goal. And I was actually consistent at the gym, which showed me and proved to myself that if I can be consistent with going to the gym, I can be consistent also with my studying. And it was a very nice change of pace when I'm studying to go out of my house and do an activity. This was the video, just a quick one about how to ace your first year in medical school. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out this video, which is about how to speed up your grades in medical school. I'll see you in the next video, guys.